y'all, welcome back to High Country Homesteading. Today we're going to be showing you how we made our nesting boxes. Nesting box, egg hutch, laying boxes. I'm not sure what the most popular naming convention is, but we've typically been calling it egg hutch or nesting box. But we were looking for a project to do back in January on a really cold day that we could achieve inside, and this is what we chose. You'll see a little bit later that we don't pick this up until many weeks later, but that's okay. We just got a little bit of a head start on it when it was too cold to work outside. So basically what we're doing here is we're just measuring and cutting all of the pieces for our two sides of our nesting box, as well as the 4 pieces that we're going to connect the 2 sides together.
So here we have both sides completed. We've got 2 pieces of everything for the sides of the nesting boxes, and we have the 4 pieces that are going to run between them, and now we just have to make a divider in the middle so that we have 3 different sections for the chickens to lay in.
So just in case you want to build something like this yourself, this was kind of difficult for us to work out. We kind of just sketched it onto something to figure out the other stuff, but now we'll just tell you. So started with 16 and a half, put a 15-degree angle here. So that's 16 and a half on the outside, the long side. Then this angle here is also 15 degrees. This angle is 15 degrees. That angle is 15 degrees. So the outside of this measurement was 10, and the outside, which is the short side of this one, was 12. So 16 and a half, 16 and a half on the outside, 10 on the outside, 12 on the outside. All angle cuts are 15 degrees.
And we got out our trusty Craig jig because all the pieces are going to need to be glued and screwed together.
Okay, so now we're resuming work on the egg hutch. I have a lot of pieces pre-cut. We're gonna start assembly. Once I get these ones assembled, I'll start to see what I'm missing and be able to get the measurements off of that. I feel like it couldn't get lost if I keep trying to make some pre-made pieces. So just got to get this together. Just using up scrap wherever I can now. Set this on. This is the end cap for the egg hutch, and I just squared it with the end of this scrap here. Traced it, and then I added a border. I'm going to cut this outside line, and I'll be able to put that in there and brad nail it on. I didn't oversize that a bunch, so I'm just making sure I get a good purchase around the whole thing. Gonna help me. We'll just lay glue here, put that on there, and brad nail it. So with having these pieces of 1/2-inch plywood here, it's extremely difficult to get this piece of wood in to be the base. So now there's a gap, and I've decided that I'm going to tack this in place with brad nails. You can always come under and hit it with a hammer up if I ever need to replace this floor. But I'm actually going to put another floor on top of this, and that's going to help me hold the dividers vertical in this space. I'm actually going to make 3 pieces that will go on the floor and then 2 pieces that are dividers. That way I don't have to put a dado in here, so a recessed cut that will hold the dividers, because this is going to be 3 spots. And I've also grabbed another piece of scrap, and this one's going to go in the front here. That will help keep nesting material from falling out of the front door, keep everything in the spots. So this will probably just be wedged in so that it can be lifted up, pushed in, taken out, and then all those 4 pieces could be taken out. The 2 dividers that are vertical could be taken out. Just kind of working through this as I go. Okay, so here's what I've come up with so far as I just worked this out. 3 pieces of flooring can obviously be replaced if I don't glue them down. Just laying those in there on top of that flooring that I already have in there. And I got carried away, and I, of course, couldn't help myself, and I made dados in this piece. This piece is to keep the nesting material in on the front, but it also, now that I put dados in it, it will serve to hold the dividers vertical. I've just made a divider. I have no idea if this is gonna fit, but here's what I've made. The idea is that they're gonna slide in here, and you can disassemble all this whenever you want. That actually fits pretty nice. It's got a little bit of play in it, but that helps put everything together. I think I'm happy with that. I'm gonna trace this onto my other piece of 1/4-inch ply. Cut that out. I might tack these down just with like 2 small brad nails. I can always pry them right up if I ever need to change them or replace them, but once I get everything set, I might just 1, 2, just so it doesn't shift around and keeps these things nice and vertical. Maybe put a little bit of pressure on those before I tack it. So it'll be able to be removed, but without that much fuss. Definitely not going to glue anything. Well, we got both these dividers in here, and they wobble around a little bit, but I don't think the chickens are going to knock these over, and everything indexes in pretty good. I'm just going to leave it like this, and if the chickens knock it over or anything, then I'll come back and reinforce things, but I feel like this is good, and I like the idea that I can remove all this and trace it, replace it if I want to in the future, if it gets all messy, or not messy, but if it starts to rot or anything. I don't know, just like the idea of this being able to be removed. now we're fitting up. We're gonna make the door, and I'm making it an 1/8 less on each side, so that there's a gap around in case there's expansion, contraction in the wood. So it's gonna be hinges down here and fold out towards me. And I put these little pieces of plywood so that when you put the door in, it will come flat to that. Have a nice backstop, and it'll have a latch on the outside. Okay, so now let's take our Candyland shims out and see if it works. Nope. Nope. It's so close. It just needs, it's making a little bit of contact there. I try to make the reveal the same on the top and bottom by shimming it. And I guess I shimmed it up one Candyland piece too much.
Thankfully, we were able to find a quick remedy to that situation, and we just used our router to go along the top edge and take off a little bit just so that door would fit a lot more smoothly. So now that we have all of our egg hutch pieces done, it's time to head outside and cut a hole in the coop to put it in. painted the egg hutch white to go along with the rest of the coop, and we did that before we put on the sheet metal roof just so the roof wouldn't get all messy with brush strokes. But we are using the same metal roof that we use for the entire roofing of the coop.
A way to flash this, because rain will definitely hit here and go inside there, end up dripping into the egg hutch. So, by the way, I'm leaving the blue tape on there until we're done because that's a very sharp edge now. So I cut this drip edge. I cut a piece off of here to shorten it. My roof's gonna slip up under here, and then I'm gonna just bend this down. And I think it's gonna be a pretty good way to keep wind-driven rain from hitting the side, going down, and then going inside. So I'll put sealant here, press this into it, screw it in, and then when I caulk everything later, I'll probably put a bead on the top as well if it doesn't happen right now. I think it's a pretty good plan. Well, I'm extremely happy with how that went. There's a nice bead right on the back of it. I'm hoping to slip it up under here and then just bend this down, and I feel like that'll be a really easy solution. Now let's see if this flashing will cooperate. My plan is just to push it down without giving it any creases or anything crazy. Okay, so that's definitely going to work, but I will say if you're gonna do something like this, bending this, you need to bend past the point that you want it to end up at, is ideally how you would bend this kind of metal, and then you bring it back to where you want it to stay.
Let us know down below in the comments if you have any questions about this build, and be sure to subscribe for the last video in our series next week, episode 7, where we're going to be putting all the finishing touches on the coop. We'll see you next time.